Okay, hey guys, sorry I'm not at the set right now, but because so many of you are desperately asking for the MKBHD collaboration video, we're going to be uploading it ahead of schedule. We talked for about an hour, and we're gonna divvy it up into 5 different videos. That way you can see it early and it's a bit more organized. Anyway, hope you all enjoy it.
Welcome back to Tailosive Tech, everyone. We have a very exciting guest, probably the biggest guest we've ever had on our channel, Mr. Marquez Brownlee himself. How's it going?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. The first thing I wanted to ask is kind of the question I think all of my fans are really asking you right now is, how exactly did you find my channel? I mean, I talked about you in videos many times before, and then of course I made that Dear MKBHD video that was kind of hyping up because you commented on it, and that was a very monumental moment for me. So I'm just curious if you saw videos of mine before that, or my fans I know can be a little spammy sometimes.
So I kind of, I don't know if I've actually before. I saw the Dear Everything Apple Pro and MKBHD video. I saw that. That was like people were tweeting it at me. So I saw that, I watched it, and I don't know if it rang a bell or if I feel like maybe I've seen one or two of your videos in the past. I'm not really sure, but that is definitely how I found it. And then left that comment,
Yeah, I really appreciate that. We were not, the channel was not expecting that at all. It was a big moment for me, and definitely very exciting because I've been watching you for many years, so I appreciate that. And I know it must be difficult because you have such a stocked full schedule. Just watching your videos between the Note 8 and the Essential phone and all these different events that you go to. As someone who's also testing a lot of smartphones, you must get tired of not having the same phone for longer than 3 weeks. Does that get old?
Yeah, that might be like the number one most common question I get from like friends or like family, just like, how do you keep changing phones? And it's usually not that bad because phones don't come out really that often until like around now during the year, so it'll be like one phone every couple months. But now it's crazy because I just switched from OnePlus 5 to Essential phone for a week, and I just switched to the V30, but I'm about to also switch to the Note, and then iPhone, and then Pixel, so like it's definitely crazier now, and pretty annoying. Yeah, I'd say it is pretty annoying now, but the rest of the year, for the most part, it's actually not too bad.
Okay. Well, cool. And I was curious, and I'm sure you get this question a lot, and I think I know what the answer is, but I'm just curious. If you weren't testing smartphones, if you weren't running a tech channel, what would be your go-to phone that you'd keep with?
My phone, I think I've said the Google Pixel XL, because that was the phone that I used for the longest time during this year. I went from that to the OnePlus 5, so October of last year to whenever OnePlus 5 came out. Like, that's a while for me to stick with one phone, so I think that's probably where I'd be at.
And I figured, because it showed on your channel that you really did enjoy that. And I'm not trying to pick a fight or anything. I'm not trying to be aggressive.
No, let it loose. Go for it. Let it loose.
My channel's very notorious. You probably could tell, based on my background, that it's a very Apple-biased channel. And that's what a lot of my fans are, going towards Apple. And I'm not against reviewing the Android phones, and I just had a terrible experience with my Pixel. And I'm not trying to say you're wrong for choosing it. I just want to try to understand what you enjoy about it personally, because I couldn't get it to work for me. So part of it, one of my first problems was kind of just, you know how the fingerprint reader is kind of on the upper third section of the back? I don't know how you do it, but for me it usually works to have it facing downward in my pocket. That way when you reach down and pull it up. But at the same time, the headphone jack's on the top, so when I would be listening to headphones, the wire would kind of get tucked over. And
I hate the top. I'm with you. I think the headphone jack should be on the bottom. I hate that it's on the top on all these new phones. I think one of either the previous Nexus or whatever I was using before it was on the bottom, but I agree. So like I have big enough hands that the fingerprint reader in the middle of the back is not really a big problem. Samsung puts it way up at the top. That's kind of annoying. I get that, but like this is a good spot for the fingerprint reader. But I'm with you on the headphone jack. I wish it was on the bottom.
Overall, because I have a big Pixel rant video on my channel that got me a lot of hate and a lot of subscribers at the same time. But what's kind of your primary reason for choosing the Pixel? Because personally, I feel like it's kind of lacking in a lot of ways. You know, we thought with the glass on the back that would open up wireless charging, and it didn't do that. And a lot of phones were getting the water resistance and waterproofing, and it wasn't getting that. And of course, that big chin, I just thought was kind of a poor use of space. But what's your justification? What about it do you like, and why is it your favorite?
For me, I think the core of why I like a lot of smartphones that I really do like is in the software experience, and then it comes down to like all their hardware intangibles. Like the camera happened to be really freaking good on that phone, so I liked that a lot. But I've come from so many. So I think right before that I was using either the Galaxy S7 or S7 Edge or a Note or something like that. And so I'm coming from one of these like Samsung or LG skin phones where I'm not really using too many of those extra features. I'm not really benefiting from having like Bixby or iris scanning or any of these extra things.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a big wireless charging person. I think it's cool to have on a lot of phones, but it's not a necessity for me. So I go from that to this like pure, and I think easily the smoothest Android experience on any phone is the closer you get to stock, that tends to be the case. So I move from that to this pure stock Android experience, and every time I do that, moving to a stock Android phone, it just feels smoother and faster and better. So that core experience, while it is definitely lacking a lot of the things that you might find in like the V30 is packed to the gills with features that I may or may not ever use, and they sell well and they're cool in the commercials and everything, but at the end of the day, I'm texting, I'm web browsing, I'm using Twitter and Instagram and that kind of stuff, and that just works best with the closest to Android I can get.
Sure, I gotcha. So it's kind of like refreshing after trying all these different skins, I'm sure after the LG and the Samsungs, that to finally have one that's just kind of clean.
Yeah, feels right.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I talk a lot about on my channel is the headphone jack, because I've noticed in your videos, like, if they can include it, that's awesome, that's great. And on my channel, I'm known for, like, we're selling our own t-shirts that have anti-headphone jacks on them, just because I'm all AirPods and all wireless and everything.
Yeah.
That's just my shtick. I had a few questions about that for you. Like, obviously, it's been a very useful port, and it's been in use for so long. But is it just right now that it's a bad time to remove it, or do you think there's a certain time in the future when it's okay to say, yes, we can remove it?
Yeah, it is. It is that awkward in-between stage, like right now. I feel like, so if we want like that, this goal we have of like not needing the headphone jack is admirable, and I hope we get to that like really fast, because in between that we have this awkward stage where we don't really know what to do. Bluetooth isn't really fully replacing it. Nobody makes USB-C headphones. It's just kind of like a strange. So if everyone got rid of the headphone jack at once in one fell swoop, that would actually be better for me, because accessory makers would be on it. Bluetooth headphones would get way better. NFC pairing would probably be a thing. Like, we'd have way better wireless audio solutions right out the gates, but we don't. So it's kind of in this awkward place where, okay, if you can include a headphone jack, we're clearly not at that future yet, so might as well toss it in. But it's a chicken and egg thing, because if you do that, then you kind of slow down the adoption of that wireless audio. So yeah, I guess if I'm putting myself in the shoes of a smartphone maker, I'm saying get rid of it, push forward. But if I'm putting myself in the shoes of a buyer, if you can include it, do it.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to come at it, because I bet that's something our fans wouldn't think we agree on, but I do agree with that. Like, because when you do remove the headphone jack, like you said, it does force like innovation to make wireless better. Like, I think AirPods, customer satisfaction wise, did really, really well, and I think Apple made those because of the removal of the headphone jack with the iPhone 7, because they knew if that's not going to be there, they definitely need to provide something that's easier. And like you said, I hope as more companies continue to do that, it'll encourage even USB-C headphones. I think have the potential to transfer much more data than a regular auxiliary port, because you can transfer 5K video through a USB-C port. So, but again, like you said, there's no kind of pressure for those headphones to do better or to improve.
For sure.